let's consider now database first. With database first, we start off with an existing database. For example, I'll just choose this one down here, my test 9. It's got this students table, which we'll take a look at. So here's our table of data. Now in database first, what we do is get C# to actually produce the domain classes from the database itself. So we start off with a database. At the moment, we've been doing what we call code first, and that is we write the code in C# to produce a database. Well, this time we're doing it the other way around. We've got our database, and we're going to produce C# code from it. So let me make a new console application. And we can just call it if we wish, and then create that console application. And we add our entity framework libraries as before. And we add the SQL server. But in our case, in the database first, we need to add another entity framework library, which we can go searching for, but I'm putting the full name in here, and we should be able to easily find that. And it's the core design, which is necessary to reverse engineer, that we were calling it. So we'll install that one as well. Just keeping in mind what we're doing, we've got our table originally, which is in that database, and at the moment we've only got the program file, but what we're aiming to produce, C# code which will contain the domain classes representing our table. So let's see how we go about and do that. Now this time, from NuGet, we need the PMC, Package Manager Console, and we need to give a special instruction in there. Let me just clear the PMC. Now all we need to do is to give an instruction in there, the scaffold DB context instruction, which is what we'll be using to build our database code. So you can see that we're using the local server database, and you must note that the database that we're referring to is database, so you must make sure that you do have that database on your server, which you can see that in my case here, and that is the table which is inside that database. So all we need to do is to perform that instruction, and we can ignore that warning in the yellow, but just warnings, you might lose whatever data. I've got a warning down here. I think I might just get rid of that as well. But importantly, you can see that we've actually got these have been produced automatically for us. So let me just go back to that one, and it's got giving some warning which might interfere with what I'm doing, so I will just get rid of that for the moment. So you can now just really inspect that code. That's all there is to it to produce that database. I must say this is the way that usually Entity Framework used to work. We always used to start off with a database and then write code to communicate with the database, and it was quite a painful operation. So these days it seems that we do it around the other way. But we've got the usual stuff here. This is the context we've got produced for us automatically, and the DB set, which represents the actual table we've got, which is this one here. And then we've got our connection string here, connecting to the database, and in fact the correct database. And interesting, if we take a look at the students table, which has been produced, which is in the Solution Explorer. Let me just take a look at that. There it is. You can see it's the pretty standard stuff, really, which you have used in the past to be able to produce the database from the code. So this is the code which is being produced from the database. So that's a fairly straightforward operation, but as I say, it's much more common that we do it the other way around, using the code first, which the code first to build the database. But here I've just showed you how to do database first, which takes the database and produces the C# code, and then you can continue your development in C#.